Hey, howdy do out there everyone, my name is Michael and welcome to the Duke Corner where I do the doodles for practice and fun. I have a really great project to show off today. Not in the it's actually objectively good kind of way, but it's about the best animation I've ever produced. And starting right off at the best note here, my favorite part, animating the wafts. I love the wafts, and I'm very excited to finally do something related to Hilda. See, my final project for my animation class this term was to make a little animated scene with lots of stuff happening. The only rule was that it had to be based on a storybook, and that lots of stuff had to be happening, all the time. Nothing could ever just be still. So pacing was out of the question, which I thought was a little dumb, and I thought the whole thing was kind of a little dumb, so I did what I do best, and I kinda just twisted the rules a little to my liking, and did something that I would like instead, by showing the old Hilda books as my reference, and then just doing a Hilda animation, because I just wanted to do a Hilda animation and nothing was going to stop me, so I just used the old Hilda books as references. Those were a storybook, so it worked. I actually had a different video planned for today, but I realized that the last season of Hilda is apparently coming out in December. Maybe. And that was such a phenomenally coincidental thing that I had no choice but to post this one instead. So now you get to see the fully condensed 10 hours of work that I put into this, all in about 5 minutes, and I'm really amazed that Premiere even let me squish it down that much. It seems to usually not let me do that. You may see I did this in Krita, which was sort of a mistake later down the line. Turns out Krita is really rudimentary for animation, and it gets very, very laggy once you have a lot of frames. It's also a mess of organization, and it doesn't really have an audio engine. So I couldn't really change the position of audio clips in the work. I just had to do that all in post. Still, I was gonna be damned if I used Adobe Animate for this, so I soldiered on in Krita. You may also notice I'm working in 12 FPS and was doing every other frame. That was just to make it easier for me, even though it was pretty choppy. I was effectively working in 6 frames per second, and, not the greatest standard, but I was never gonna be able to achieve 12 frames. I would have burnt out and fell apart. My process was pretty simple for this whole project. I developed a strategy really early on and just sort of kept with it for the whole thing. I started by drawing a line of action with basic animated shapes, animated over said line of action, to get the motion right, and then kind of just winged it for all the details on top on another layer, without really putting too much thought into it. Maybe not the most methodical method, but I wasn't taught anything better, so this was the best I could do. Most of the animations, save some bits I cleaned up and redid later, were just like that. I struggled a bit with the giant, and Twig doesn't really look on model in the slightest, but overall it's a really nice piece for, I guess, a pretty early on learning experience. And now that I'm past the first hurdle of learning curve, I'll be slapping out animations left, right, and diagonal. Towards the last few hours, I started coloring things in, and that's when the lag really hit hard. The program was basically on the knife's edge of crashing every time I drew a line, and that's about the time I got done with this project. I had been working on this for, mind you, all of November, and I wasn't necessarily burnt out on it, but I was about at the stage where I wanted to do more, but recognized that this effort had basically served its purpose. And I couldn't just keep polishing a smooth lump of coal into a diamond. It was just going to be a smooth lump of coal. So I wanted to move on to making something better with the experience that I took from this. It wasn't a failed attempt in the slightest, though there was much to be desired, but I did want to move on, and gladly now I get the chance to. Toward the final little stretch of the runway, I added in this title card, and then some effects and sound effects in Premiere. I reused the white waft for the title card as well, which I thought was kinda cute, and here you have it, my final Semester 1 animation. I have entirely run out of things to say about this piece by now. It was a good experience making it, I think, and I can't wait to make more animations for you all, hopefully in the near future. I hope you've all enjoyed this little thing, and if you did, hey, I don't know, just considering the months I spent on this whole ordeal, maybe consider the likes and subscribble stuff down there to make the algorithm love me. And without further ado, farewell.